Hi guys, welcome to the 5-minute video series on EduTap, and today we are going to discuss a very important topic for the NABARD Grade A exam, that is United Nations Sustainable Development Goals Report 2021. So before moving on to the session, if you are new to our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe it and press the bell icon to receive all the latest updates of the courses and videos offered by us, and you can also join our Telegram channel to get the access to the PDF of the lectures. Now before moving on to the session, let's see that why this report is important for the NABARD Grade A exam. And we are going to do this with the help of a previous year question from NABARD Grade A 2019 Phase 2 exam, in which questions were being asked from the Global Wage Gap Report 2018-2019, which was released by the International Labour Organization. And there was one more question from the Mind the Gap report. And guys, here we can see that these questions were being based on the reports. This is the reason that these reports are really important for the NABARD Grade A exam, and that's why today we are going to discuss the Sustainable Development Goals Report 2021. So let's move on to the session. Let's get started. So my dear friends, recently the Sustainable Development Goals Report 2021 was released by the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, and this report was released on the very first day of the 2021 session on High Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development. So before moving on to the key findings of this report, let's see the different sustainable development goals in this particular list. And guys, here a list has been provided to you which comprises of 17 sustainable development goals, and all of you are requested to go through all these 17 sustainable development goals and remember their names because they are really very important from the exam point of view. Now coming back to the report, this report tells us about the impact of COVID-19 on the implementation of these sustainable development goals. And this particular report also indicates us that the number of indicators in the SDG global database has increased from 115 in year 2016 to 211 indicators in year 2020. So I hope that this is very much clear to all of you. And now let us move on to the key findings of this particular report. And guys, I want to add here that today we are only going to discuss the most important key findings of this report. And as per the report, this report states that 42% of the countries all over the world had to postpone the censuses due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and these censuses were scheduled to be held from 2020 to 2021. And guys, apart from that, this report also tells us that additionally 101 million children have fallen below the minimum reading proficiency level. And guys, this number, that is 101 million children, it represents 9% of the children studying in grade 1 to 8, and that shows that these 9% children have fallen below the minimum reading proficiency level. And my dear friends, this report also tells us about the global poverty rate, and it says that the global poverty rate has been projected to be 7% in year 2030. So this particular number is really very important from the exam point of view, so please mark the star here. And it also says that COVID-19 has led to the first rise in extreme poverty, as an additional 119 to 124 million people were pushed back into the extreme poverty levels in year 2020. And guys, that was only COVID-19 pandemic was responsible for this particular push into the extreme poverty levels. And guys, apart from that, this particular report also tells us about the number of social protection measures taken by the government all over the world, and it says that total 1600 short-term social protection measures in response to COVID-19 pandemic were being introduced by the governments all over the world. But it also says that still, after launching these 1600 short-term social protection measures, there were 4 billion people which were still not covered by these social protection measures. And guys, this is really a very serious cause of concern, as still after launching that much highest number of short-term protection measures, still 4 billion people are lacking to the accessibility of these measures. And guys, apart from that, this particular report also tells us about the status of child malnutrition in the world, and it states that 22% of the children under 5 are stunted all over the world, 6.7% of the children suffer from wasting, and 5.7% of the children under 5 are overweight. All of you are requested to tell me in the comment section below about the actual definition of the stunting, wasting as well as overweight. And guys, apart from this particular report also says that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, additional 70 to 161 million people are likely to have experienced hunger. And if you talk about the number of undernourished people all over the world, this number has increased from 607 million to 720 to 811 million by year 2020. And my dear friends, I want to add here that still 2.37 billion people are without food, or they are unable to eat a healthy balanced diet on a regular basis. Now moving on to the other key important findings of this particular report. This report also tells us about the women's equal participation in decision making. And guys, this particular report says that 25.6%, that means the national parliamentarians only comprises of 25.6% of the women. And if you talk about the women representatives in the local government, only 36.3% women representatives are there in the local government. And if we talk about the women holding the managerial positions, then only 28.2% of the women occupies these positions in the organizations. Apart from that, this particular report also tells us that the violence against women have really increased during the period of COVID-19 pandemic. And it also says that up to 10 million girls will be at the risk of child marriages after the COVID-19 pandemic. And guys, apart from these key important findings, some other key findings are also being mentioned here. As you can see that this particular report says that all over the world, 2.6 billion people uses dangerous and inefficient cooking systems. And apart from that, world has lost 100 million hectares of forest during the period of 2000 to 2020. And my dear friends, this particular point are really very important from the exam point of view, and questions can be asked from these particular points. Apart from that, this report also says that the child labor has increased to 160 million in year 2020, and about half of the global population, that is 3.7 billion people all over the world, are still not online. So guys, these were the important key findings from this particular report, and I hope that these findings are really very much clear to all of you. Most important thing from these reports are the numbers, which are really important and can be asked in the exam. So guys, I hope that today's session was useful and fruitful to all of you. And if you have liked the session, please give a thumbs up in the comment section below. And you can also drop us a mail in case of any queries. You can drop us a mail at hello@edutab.co.in, and you can also call us at 814-620-7241. So guys, thank you for joining us. Now we will be meeting in the next session.